Good morning. Good morning. That's better. This is Africa, not Europe or the US. We talk to each other. Today, as our hearts and prayers are with Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, let me recall some of his words. It always seems impossible until it is done. And last night, when I looked at all your essays and projects, the amazing work you have done in the last couple of months of your time at Ames, that those words came back to me. The range of your research is staggering. I know of no other institute in the world where the students have done research on a piezoelectric generator. And I'm very happy to see the student actually built it, and it worked. Okay, they've done research on the stellar populations in galaxies, on density functional theory, on quantum computing, on disease and risk prediction, on the quantum stress tensor in the Keldysh formalism, and many, many other topics. You should be incredibly proud of yourselves that you have succeeded in entering science at the highest level, and the whole world is watching you. Because you are just the beginning of a wave. And I encourage you today to enjoy the beautiful sunshine which came out just for us, and to look out at the sea in Musenberg and watch one of those incredible parallel waves we get here. It's very unusual that they're so perfectly aligned. And they begin very small, hardly visible, and very hard to track them with your eye. But as they come towards the shore, they gradually build. Steadily, they gain mass and they gain momentum. And finally, they approach the shore and they turn into huge breakers. And the surfers have such fun on these enormous waves, and then they crash with that wonderful sound. And that's what's happening in Africa. A wave is coming, the wave of young Africans. Africa's population is growing faster than any other continent. By 2050, 1/3 of the world's youth will be African. Nigeria will overtake the US in population. And the world needs you. The world needs you. The world needs talent. It needs scientists. It needs discoverers. It needs problem solvers. And they will come from Africa. I want to congratulate you, the class of 2013. And you know, 2013 rearranged is 0123. And you're just at the beginning of your lives, the beginning of what you will do with your lives. By 2050, you'll be ancient professors like me. And Africa will be transformed, and you will set the example. You will, through your own behavior, your own standards, your own aspirations, through your teaching, through your guiding, through your mentoring, you will be the example that others will follow. And I encourage you to aim high and always aim for the impossible. You know, in 1990, when Nelson Mandela was released from prison, that seemed impossible. I'm very happy my mother is here today. My parents always told me that one day change will come in South Africa. And I found it very hard to believe them. All the evidence was against, but they had powerful ideas. They had the right ideas. And they persisted in the face of ridicule. And of course they won, and the world changed. It seemed impossible that in 1994 there would be a new South Africa, a democratic South Africa, a place that for us was the ideal fertile ground on which to form an advanced educational institute for the whole of Africa. And then 9 years later, in 2003, at this time of year, we were very anxious, Fritz and I. We barely had the resources to open AIMS. In fact, when we made the decision to open AIMS, we did not have the resources, I have to admit. We weren't sure we could pay. We could maybe afford 6 months of operation, but we were in a frantic effort to raise the money to support the first years of students. We hired the cheapest contractor we could find in Cape Town. And whether the building would be finished was always in doubt. In fact, it wasn't finished when we opened the center. And some of those first students helped us to finish it, to clear the piles of rubble out of the common room, and to help to make the lecture theater, lecture room, into what it is now, and the library. And that was an amazing experience, to form an educational institute from scratch. Well, we were driven by an impossible dream to create a new kind of center for scientific learning, a center where it's not just about the intellect, it's not just about mathematics and science, though those are crucial. It's also about friendship and comradeship and humanity and commitment. And that's what makes AIMS such a special place. And today there is no center in the world where like AIMS, you walk through the front door and you instantly feel the vibe. It's very special. There are people happy, smiling, helping each other, trusting each other, determined to do impossible things. There's no better example of a scientific institute than AIMS worldwide. Well, in 2008, AIMS had established itself, 5 years of graduations, and we started to aim higher. We set ourselves another impossible goal, to make 15 AIMS centers within a decade, all over Africa. And today I'm very happy to report that we're just beginning that task. We've recruited some incredible people to lead that effort, like Thierry Zomerhoen and the staff of the Next Einstein Initiative. We opened a center in Senegal in 2011, in Ghana 2012. The Cameroon government wants us to open this October. It won't be easy, but it's never easy when you do something important. It always seems impossible until it is done. Let me talk a little bit about physics, because that's my field. It seemed impossible that we would learn the nature of the atom on a scale 1/billionth its size. After all, we can't even see atoms. How can we study what's going on 1 billion times smaller than an atom? But that's just what happened last year. The Large Hadron Collider discovered the Higgs boson, predicted by mathematical theorists nearly 50 years earlier, on the basis of physical principles and mathematical arguments. We knew it would be there. And it was. In the largest ever experiment of all time, a 10 billion euro experiment, it focused in on a scale of 1 billionth the size of the atom, and bingo, there was the Higgs boson, just where the human mind had anticipated it to be. And then my own field is cosmology, where we predict how the universe behaves on scales 10 trillion times larger than the solar system. 14 billion light years, impossibly huge scales. But we made predictions and we did calculations, and then we measured the universe. And just 2 months ago, the Planck satellite mapped the whole sky and measured the radiation from the hot Big Bang. And bingo, it agreed with the calculations we had made. What does it tell you? It tells you that there's seemingly no limit to the power of the human mind to imagine, to understand, to anticipate how the universe works. But it always seems impossible until it is done. So let me end now with a message for you graduates, for the alumni. Today, in the last week, we've had graduations in Senegal and Ghana and South Africa, and the total number of alumni is well over 500 from Ames. In 2015, it'll pass 1,000. In 2017, it'll pass 2,000. In 2020, it'll pass 5,000. That's the same number of scientists who worked together to discover the Higgs boson. And what are these 5,000 young African scientists going to do? Well, they will be trained at Ames, where they made friends and colleagues from all over Africa. Their lives changed. They realized the opportunities they have and the opportunities for Africa. And I can guarantee those 5,000 people, those 5,000 students are going to change Africa. It's clear. They already are. We saw how many Ames alumni are going back to teach, and many of them are drawn to Africa. They want to stay in Africa. They don't want to go and help the US or the UK or other countries. They want to build their own continent. It's going to be tremendously exciting to see what they do, what they discover, how they lead, how they set an example. The whole world is watching you. And it always seems impossible until it is done. Thank you very much.